Hi, thanks for joining me today. We're going to take a look at how the Launchkey Mini Mk4 mapping works with Prism. So to start, let's plug in the Launchkey and configure the routings through the host. All right, so now that I've got that plugged in, I'm going to go to my host, and I've already have it set up from earlier, but you can see I'm going to go Prism into Launchkey.in, and I'm going to filter out channels 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to go Launchkey MIDI.out and Launchkey MIDI out and go that into Prism. Then I can go back to Prism, external control, and then I can toggle Launchkey Mini Mk4 on. And with that, I'm set up and I'm synced. So from the Launchkey, the very first thing we're going to see is this sequence page. It's the main avenue for control and play. The pads represent your sequence trigs. You can add them and play with them the same way that you would on Prism. And the top knobs give you access to key parameters. You can see the parameters that you're impacting with this display here. While static, you'll see the name of the parameter, and while adjusting, you can see the parameter change and the new value. So let's start by creating a simple beat on, I'm going to go on this drum track. All right, and then we'll press play. Okay, so now that we've got that going on, we might want to add some chords. I'm going to press function here, which is my track select button, and then I can use the trigs to select a new track. Then I can play some notes with the keypad. As I play notes, it'll update the note input, and I can add them by pressing a trig. I can hold that to go into trig edit and make it longer. If we want to add some more chords, we can change the length of the sequence by accessing sequence setup. To do that, we'll press this button here to access the track state manager. From here, we have access to sequence setup, patterns and scenes, hue, ARP, and warp. Simply tap a pad to enter that state. So we'll go into setup, and we're going to go to 4 bars, and we'll set it to 1 page. Once you're done and you want to return to the sequence from any of these pages, simply tap the right button again. So now let's add some more chords. All right. And we can also record in notes. And that's how we can add some simple chords. Now, if we want to go further, we can play with the MIDI profiles, and we can change the sound. To do that, we'll press this down button here. That brings us into the MIDI profile view. On Prism, I'm going to open up a profile for Helsinki, which is the instrument I'm controlling. And with that, I can now see the names of the profiles in the active group on the screen, and I can control them with the knobs. So we'll hear that. Oh, and one other thing, you can access the group. So I don't want to be in generator. I'm going to long press this button, and then I'll enter group filter, and then I'll press again to go back. So let's play. You can hear that I turn these knobs and I get the change. I think this is really cool. I don't know why I pressed stop and that didn't happen. I'll take a look at that. But I think this is really cool because if you create any profile for any of your favorite instruments and load them up, through this configuration, it's kind of like you've got a native hardware device for playing with it. You can also add LFOs to it. So once you're in the MIDI CC mode, you can tap again to enter like the extensive editor. These 3 buttons down here represent the LFO. So we'll figure that out later, but I'll press play from here. I'll press this to arm the LFO. If I want to clear an LFO, I simply press again. The same thing works for step FX, for PLOX. So I can hold to enter trig focus. I can then press the param button to enter the param state, and I can adjust to assign that. I can also press function to toggle the trig focus lock, and I can press param again to enter the advanced param edit state where I can clear any P locks by tapping the param. So we'll go back and we'll keep this one. No, not the filter type. We'll try filter frequency. All right. Then I can press again to exit. And just like that, you can use LFOs and P-locks to really play and accentuate the sound. Once you've got something that you like, you simply press the state manager, go to your patterns, and we'll start a new one. We'll go back to the sequence. And so those are the basic controls for how you can use the Launchkey. There's a lot more you can do as you jump into the FX here. So for example, if we go back to the pattern we were at, and we go back to ARP, I can use these. Yeah, and so that's a really fun way to play too. There's a few other tips and tricks here, but I'll let you go and look at the manual where you can see, all the settings and the extra little add-ins and long presses that help optimize the workflow here. If you have any question, one other caveat. So this is definitely like only Launchkey Mini Mk4. If you're looking and hoping that this works for the other launch keys, that's untested. I don't know, but I would love to get them added. I just don't have one to test with. So if you do and you want to be a guinea pig for a day, reach out to me. I'd really appreciate it. I'll give it to you for free, obviously, and we can get this running for everybody else who, might have a different launch key. But if you have any questions or ideas, please let me know as always. Otherwise, have fun playing.